is the future. Evolution.
Right into each other.
Welcome to Gosports Live. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm Matty Marshall. I'm really excited to have Sina Azmoudeh, one of the prime movers creatively behind the scenes here, behind the camera, a mover and shaker guy that makes things happen behind a lot of the seminal things that we've seen here in the past, half decade. Gosports, MyFanwagon, awesome documentaries, the Impact series. Sina, I'm just hyping you up right now, baby. So, but yeah, and also my roommate when we go to events a lot of times. So we got a lot to talk about today.
What's up, Matty?
Brain on some stuff. What's up, Sina? Yeah, so we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff today as, man, paintball's back. We got the Ultimate Shootout. The next episode's coming out here. It's going to be quarterfinals, Nate Roberts versus Matt Jackson. We're going to talk about that matchup. We're also going to be talking about semifinals. That's going to be coming out the 17th. And that's going to be Meter Ninos, Jesse Stevens. We're going to talk about some of the battles that we've already seen. We're going to talk about upcoming battles. We got some news to break. Going to be having the completed lineups for tournament number 3. Tournament number 2 is already in the can. That's in the bag. That one was crazy as well, too. It's a really fun thing. So we're going to talk about kind of how it evolved, how all this got together, why we're doing this. And this needs to happen, man. Paintball must be played. The story must go on. And so, yeah, I'm excited to have my boy Sina out here to talk about all this stuff today, but also market calendars, man. We still got a lot of content coming at you. Mondays with Ryan Greenspan, Tactical Tuesdays. Just had the Pat Kraft episode drop. I love Pat Kraft, man. I really like how his mind works with the game. He's super fun to watch. We're also going to have him on Friday as well, too. We're going to be at the one-on-ones, the Pro Tour up in Paris, California, coming up here in a week and a half. It's probably going to be 3,000 degrees up there, but 7-man tournament paintball is back as well, too, the HK Army event. And, yeah, it's crazy. Again, we're going to be talking about the Ultimate Shootout, and we're going to be going to Texas again to be filming that one, too. So, and then also I want to talk to Sina about we're going to be having, the female under-19s, amateur Ultimate Shootout as well, too. And if you do well there, you could potentially get on the main show, fight against the pros. Anyway, without further ado, Sina, are you staying cool, calm, collected over there in Texas? Is it 5,000 degrees? It's getting a little hot here in San Diego, bro. It's like 85 degrees and melting today.
Yeah, I'm melting. Today it's definitely melting day. Luckily, I have access to a pool, so we're good. But I felt like that was a fight intro. Like, I'm like, who am I fighting, Matty? Like, shit. That was awesome.
You're not fighting anybody. I just wanted to get you hyped up to have an awesome conversation, man. Like we do when we get together and see each other in person. So, okay, well, let's start. Let's remind everybody, though, you were a tournament paintball player. Your brother was the subject of the film The Rookie, which is kind of how I got to know you a little bit. I remember I brought you on the podcast back in the day when we had PBA and, realized I'm like, oh, this dude's an intellectual. This guy's smart as shit. I want to hear what this guy has to say. Then you're on the creative side, too. And then anyway, so long story. We could spend hours and hours and hours talking about all that sort of stuff. But I just kind of want to ask you, what do you think is special about the game? I asked this question to a lot of our subjects, and you and I have had talks about this over beers over the years. But what do you think, like, what captivates you about the game of paintball? Like, why have you decided to give this your professional attention? And I just think, again, it's important that we have talent. A talent has to be on the field. People need to see the best players in the world. But if we don't have talent behind the scenes, organizing, creating, being the prime movers, cultivating things, then things aren't going to look good, man. We're not going to be putting our best foot forward to the world. So that's why I'm stoked that you've been on all these projects. But that being said, what was the hook for you? What still is the hook? What are you trying to convey to, the people out there when you are part of these creative things?
I think ultimately everything I've done that's succeeded in many aspects of many worlds, not just in me individually, but if it's a crime of passion, I put so much effort, so much extra effort into anything that I do. And ultimately, if it's not a crime of passion, if it's not something that I'm truly passionate about, I suck at it. I truly suck at it. And it could be like, you name it, washing your car, like whatever the case may be. And for me, paintball has always been something, going back to when I was like 12, was something that I was obsessed about. And I can't tell you why, besides one, I love sports. Anyone who knows me knows that how much I love sports, fantasy sports, sports production, live broadcasts, like what you name it. Sports are usually in every aspect of my day. But it's an emotional high. It's a physical high. It's a strategical chess match. Anybody who's played paintball knows what I'm talking about. For people who don't, it's truly a sport that takes athleticism to a whole new level, because you're introducing an aspect of pain, an aspect of an aspect of the hunt or be hunted, and it's very addicting. And ultimately, with my profession of film tied in, it was kind of a perfect storm. And I love what I do.
Well, that was great, man. That's very true, though. There's a lot of things about this game that are incredibly addicting, and it's not just playing it. The lifestyle is addicting. The people you meet, you get all those different elements of the world kind of intermixed in and melded into your own soul once you participate in the lives of these other people's vicariously when you see their stories played out. So that gets definitely addicting for sure. But it was just kind of cool to see you kind of tear up. So, we've been working together a long time on Gosports stuff, 5 Sundays, all the different documentary stuff. But, when the COVID world hit, we'd always kind of had this concept of, like one-on-one paintball has been around as long as people have been shooting paintballs at each other. That was always a part of things. Mm-hmm. But then it was like, look, what are we going to do here? Like the NXL is essentially shutting down until further notice. The world itself is shutting down. But we definitely knew that with the way that paintball is played, you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner. Jiu-jitsu is definitely something that you have to be all up on another person in order to do. You're in close physical contact. You're most of the times you're in a stuffy gym, as much as they try to ventilate those things, but they always kind of smell like an old shoe a little bit. But that's the nature of that specific activity, and that's a special thing, and it's an amazing thing in people's lives. But paintball is a little different. You're typically playing it outdoors. You are separated from people. So kind of sitting there and we're like, why the hell can't we do a one-on-one? And then what would the rule set be? Then we all everyone got on the phone. Everyone was trying to figure out, because that's the hardest part. When you're sitting down and trying to figure out a one-on-one, it's like, okay, so then the rules came out, and it was kind of funny because we saw Ronnie Dizon's, so Ronnie Dizon's going to be, I was wondering who the last guy was going to be. And then today I went in there and saw Ronnie Dizon's little post that he made, and I thought it was hilarious. He's like, all right, let's do this. And he starts watching the rules, and you see the math thing playing out. Now, I thought it was funny, but they aren't really that complicated, but they're complicated enough. Because I remember when we were on that phone call, and it's like, to me, I really think one of the fatal flaws in the game of paintball is that we need to dumb things down and simplify things for people. And it's like, when you look at the things that are incredibly, on the macrocosm, undeniably successful, gaming, American football is a Byzantine labyrinth of ridiculous rules. American baseball, I mean, there's a thing in one of the Adam Sandler movies about how ridiculous the rules to American baseball are. Same with the American football. So, something doesn't have to be simple in order for it to be popular. And so I do think that the level of complexity within the rule set in the Ultimate Shootout, I think, is a blessing for that thing. What I found after talking to all the dudes off camera when we were just chilling in Texas at Paintball Fit, what an amazing facility that is. They liked the complexity and the different ways that you could go about winning that one-on-one engagement. It wasn't just a one-on-one. There was much more chess match, go type level of mindset that you had to bring to that, because it wasn't just let's just have these one-on-one engagements. So it was kind of interesting how that all developed behind the scenes.
Yeah, it definitely, the one-on-one league idea, or whatever you call it, you could go back to the generations well before me. This is not something that we woke up to this great grandiose idea. What we decided was Gosports consumers need content. That's just the bottom line, right? Like, Netflix needs to update their reel every day or people unsubscribe. That's the business model. We need content. And we are in a situation where I can't have anyone within 6 feet of me, and it can't be more than, X amount of people in certain allotments of area. Well, that kind of limits us to one-on-ones. So at first it was, it was out of necessity. And that phone call that you're talking about, it was a phone call with multiple industry leaders, multiple pros. Justin Rabikoff was there, Steve Rabikoff, Greg Pauly, you name it. There were industry leaders on that phone call. And we were like, look, we got to come up with something that's entertaining, fun to play, and repeatable, meaning it can sustain itself on everyone's paintball field, not just the show's field. And it took 3 or 4 practice sessions. It took a giant beta shoot, I think is what they call it, where we went in with cameras and, figured out how we were going to view it. And we came back, regurgitated it with everybody in the team. And ultimately we came up with the rules as you see it now. If you watch the Ultimate Shootout, we described the rules in the first 15 seconds of every reel. And it's seriously entertaining. It's seriously fun to play. And I'm really excited about what it holds in the future. We're only, 1 tournament in, and we're seeing a lot of traction. And it could be for multiple reasons. It might be because there is no other live productions going on right now, right? Like, that's the cool side of what we're doing. It's unfortunate and it's sad to hear about the COVID stories, but COVID has also created this situation where you have opportunity now, right? Paintball has an opportunity now. We have the platform, we have the stage where we could be one of the only live productions going on right now. We could be one of the only sports going on right now. And we can put out something that's genuinely elevated, genuinely entertaining, and has story and complexity, like you said, and so on. And I think that's been really the fun, passionate side of this. Is like, sweet, let's like take the eraser to the board of paintball and rewrite it. Like, okay, 12 BPS is boring. Let's shoot each other more. Throw 15 balls per second in. Okay, 1 buzzer's boring. Put them in the middle, paint them, make smoke come out of it. And, like, you name it, sound effects, like, we could do whatever we want with that. And that's like the coolest part about this in my job is like, no league, no person, nobody's telling me, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm going to see how creative we can get with this. Like, do you want confetti to come out of the buzzer? You name it. like you tell me what you want to watch.
Yeah, the smoke thing is tight.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. I'm throwing it up there again. I've already mentioned it many times. Just going to throw it out there again. Mechanical, no face mask, allow fighting. Bam. It doesn't need to be everything. I'm just thinking that could just be its own little bracket. And if you're down to do it, you're down to do it. If not, then you don't have to play that. I'm just throwing it out there.
What would we call that? Like
mechanical, allow
Ultimate
fighting.
Shootout.
Nikki
I
would be
think
Nikki
call
Cuba,
that, like,
Mike Paxton, and Rich Telford back again.
I think we call that like Big Balls Ultimate Shootout or something.
But so there are the rules right there. And if you guys haven't checked it out yet, definitely need to check it out. It's interesting, man. I've people that watch the show, I've played in one-on-ones before. It's always an interesting adventure, but it needed a little bit more complicated rule set. So I'm pretty stoked that that's the rule set, because when I went down there, drove out to Texas, and I was like, man, I've been hearing really good things about this. I saw all the footage from the pilot essentially, and I liked what I saw. And then I did my due diligence and called around and talked to people, and they're like, yo, Matty, no bullshit, man. There were like almost fist fights. And I was like, for real? Are you like, no, for real? Like, the cameras aren't on. Just tell me what the deal is. And they're like, no, dude, it was insane. It's going to be tight. Like, you're going to really like it. I'm like, okay, cool. So sure enough, we get out there, and it was, like, some guys know that like Mark Johnson was putting on a show. He's like, oh, cameras are on. I'm going to try to be funny and witty. And, and Mark was great. He was a great sport about the whole thing. But Mark's, he's an old salty veteran, so he understood what we were trying to do. But at the same time, there was a lot of authenticity. It's like when you watch MMA. You and I are both huge MMA fans. When me and Sina are sitting down at events, yeah, we talk a lot of paintball. We got our bets back and forth, but we also talk a lot of mixed martial arts too. And some guys do it for the show. Some guys are putting on that hype, but some guys are legitimately do not like each other, and that's a real thing. And maybe they like each other, but they want what that other guy has, and it's interesting. So we had the first when the lineup came out for the first one, Greg Pauly as the matchmaker, as it is now, and I also want to talk about that too. I do like the fact that we are doing, at least until we have rankings, that we have a matchmaker. And for the Texas event with the Texas guys, some of the Midwestern dudes. I mean, Paulie's been in the Midwest forever. I can't really think of a better matchmaker than Greg Pauly right now. I would argue that with anybody. I'm glad we're not doing it randomly. I don't think that's how you're supposed to do one-on-one visceral, a fight type situation like this. I think it should be, matches made together to see. I mean, we could pull stuff out of a hat, but that's not going to be as interesting to me. I want to see, like the Mark Johnson and Meter Ninos one. That was older brother versus younger brother. I thought, stylistically, yeah, you got to give that one to Meter. And, sure enough, he ended up taking that victory. And Mark gave him a good fight, and Mark put up the early lead, but then Meter came back. But, that was a good story. I want to see that, man. As a sports fan, that's one of the things that draws you in, no matter whether you realize that or not. That's how your brain absorbs information and processes it. And so I thought that the way that things kind of went down. So then heading into Ultimate Shootout number 2, episode 2, completely different tournament, shot the same weekend with essentially the same dudes. But whoever ends up winning, then, another guy's going to step in and take that place. But that's another situation of, dude, we're living in pandemic mode. What are we going to do? How do we pull this off?
Exactly.
We need to get all these guys to break quarantine to come to this area. Okay, let's maintain social distancing, do what we need to do here. But at the same time, like, we need to get a show in the can, man. We need to shoot as much of stuff as we possibly can. Let's do 2 of them. And so that was why it is the way it is. Again, dude, moving forward in a perfect world, things are going to be a little bit different. We're going to be able to cherry pick and be able to put the best thing together and fly guys in and do that sort of stuff. And that is how we're going to get there as we move forward in the future. But I just thought that, since you were running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to make this magic happen from the production standpoint, so there's a look at number 1, at 001. But I just, what were your I didn't really get, we did get a chance to talk a little bit about it, but what was your what did you think about the competition? You're cutting all these episodes up and, we've been going back and forth a little bit, but for the record, how did you think it all turned out?
Well, so in the first episode, it was still, even after our first production, it was still unknown, right? Like the powers that be and the financing behind Gosports is looking at us kind of going, you want to do what? Like, so we definitely
like, it's going to be dope.
We
it's definitely going to be dope. I promise.
I was jumping up and down, like in the inside and outside, trying to get people to listen. And a lot of people were, the whole team was. And ultimately, I think we found that acceptance and we found that agreement. And like what you see on screen right now, like, look at that for a second. We had no less than, I think, 2 weeks from point of inception till launch date, where we were like, we have to get content out. And like the scrim, the bunkers, the jerseys, the players, the rules, it was a feat of phenom by a scale of 50 people. It was unbelievable. Everybody rallied for it. And that was the coolest thing to be a part of, was like, everybody was like, this is sweet. We need to do this, and we need to do this regularly, and let's figure it out. So like, as far as the competition is concerned, we couldn't have been in a better place at a better time. The Texas scene, and I'm biased, obviously I'm from Texas. But the paintball Texas scene is one of, if not the mecca of paintball, in the sense of there are so many paintball players. Like you look at USXBL, the Ultimate Shootout regional registrations, the other Texas paintball fields, Paintball Fit, Official, all these other fields, they have so many people playing paintball, even during, the COVID crisis, when they set the new rules up and everything. There was still, respectively, a ton of paintball players, and not just competitive, but just like, your bachelor parties and your birthday parties and so on. So with that sense, we had to, with the budget we had and with the people we had to deal with it locally, right? Anybody we can, we're not going to be able to fly people in. So we had to find local talent. But dude, golden barrel winners, world champions, Dimitri, Jesse, Clint Johnson, who's an absolute beast on AC Diesel, all the rest of the names, and one that were the name that hasn't really been thrown around yet, that will be a big name, I promise you, Iceman. That's all I'm going to say about it. He's an amazing paintball player. He's on Diesel as well. Diesel is introduced in a later episode. They're all spectacular paintball players, and they're all the right personality and the right play type to make not only this one-on-one show entertaining, but just as an individual. Like when you put a camera in front of someone, they might be a talent, they might be a spectacle, but they might really suck in front of a camera. And unfortunately, we live in a genre right now with Ultimate Shootout where it is very much so about the show. And we have a segment of our business that's specifically for the players, the regional events and grooming that experience. But moreover, the Ultimate Shootout is about entertaining you, right? Like, I want you to sit down, I want you to watch this, and I want you to be entertained by it. And I don't care if you're a baseball fan, a paintball fan, a hockey fan. I want to make this simple enough, right? Blue versus orange, basic rule set. Guy needs to shoot guy. There's a buzzer in the middle. Now we have some perspective. Now we have a focal point. Now we have a basic strategy that grandma can understand. And I want our 5 to 10-year-olds to be able to sit down and go, what is this? And, you know, in the experimenting we've done and in the talent and in the play that's been done so far, again, it's super limited. We're talking about 1 event, 2 events that's been filmed. It's been sweet. I mean, it's been everything we wanted it to be.
Yeah, it's been sweet. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to the evolution. Oh, we lost him for a second. Uh-oh.
No, you're good.
Are you all right? Is everything good? Are you good?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, I just disconnected my headset.
Okay.
Scrub.
Oh, tight. No, I was just gonna say that I'm really excited to see how this progresses and evolves, because it's already fun to watch. So as far as, you know, who's going to emerge as the beasts out here, who are going to be our one-on-one gods, we don't really know yet. Yes, you and I have seen a couple events, but that doesn't really mean anything. You know, 2 years out, you know, who knows what this is going to look like? Who knows what it's going to evolve into? Yeah, but it was just what to me. What was best was to see guys and have conversations, because look, we're all, a lot of us. I've seen a ton of paintball, man, past 26-7 years or whatever. A lot of one-on-ones, all this different stuff. So to sit around with other kind of salty dudes is not their first rodeo, and have a discussion where I'm like, what do you think about this? You know, no one's around. It's just me and them, and they're like, actually, this was super fun, man. I had a great time. I'm exhausted right now. I need to get my cardio up, and I've been telling everybody out there, especially for the next one. Dude, hit them streets, baby. You need to hit streets. You need to get to running. You need to be doing your hit training. You need to get that cardio up, because if your cardio is not up, you're going to get destroyed. It's going to be, especially when we go to the next one and it's 5 billion degrees out there. Yeah. So, but it just, people seem to be enjoying it. The people I've talked to, like, yeah, of course, dude, this is one of our babies. So yeah, of course we're going to hype it up. This is no bullshit assessment. This is the type of input that I'm getting. And dude, if you don't like it, hit me up and let me know what we can change. You know, like, this is going to evolve. Yeah. Everything has evolved. UFC has evolved. Baseball. There is no activity that is a sport that has not evolved over time. I love sports. I'm a fan of sports history, and it is so interesting to see the evolution of all of these different pursuits that we give our time to, whether that be golf or baseball or football, or even, you know, the history of jiu-jitsu is fascinating. You know, mixed martial arts itself, boxing, like, all this stuff is so fascinating. It always is going to evolve. That's what's special about it, is what's working at the time. What tactics, what implementation of your strength combined with your mental aptitude to bring to bear on this specific physical activity is going to produce results and success. And that is going to evolve. And I love watching that and following the pace and the tempo of that evolution. I think it's going to be cool, man. So let's talk a little bit about, so we know who's going to be playing. Obviously, tournament 1's going down right now. Again, June 11th coming up. Nate Roberts is taking on Matt Jackson. That's a fascinating matchup, because, you know, you have Matt Jackson, Golden Barrel Award winner, and I got to say, the favorite at the event. I mean, dude, you got to give Matt Jackson to be the favorite at the event, because he's the Golden Barrel Award winner, and he's considered not just one of the best players in Texas, but one of the best players in the world. Now, Nate Roberts going to med school, incredibly intelligent dude, one of the original kind of Texas wonder kids that came up and really helped start the AC Dallas, the program. So to see kind of Matt Jackson be the best player in the AC program, in my opinion, and I think that you know, just watching what has happened in his role and position, and what he's done. Yeah, go for it.
He actually, so statistically, via MyFanwagon, he was the favorite when Archie dropped out. Archie dropped out. He was the favorite. Archie had a schedule conflict, and Fuzzy became the favorite. In watching the episode so far, and it might be because Fuzzy's match has not aired yet. It airs tomorrow. We're going to air the match at 7 Central on Gosports against Nathan Roberts. In that time, Dimitri has taken over the favorite spot. Naturally, he's won a match, and people know that, and the voting has changed on future match predictions. But Dimitri has actually there's the graphic. Dimitri has actually he was at like 50-60%. And since his match against who did he play? Mark Johnson, he's gained a ton of fans. I think when people saw how well he played and the way he was playing, it actually set the tone for a lot of the other players too. And again, you and I know what happened, but it's very interesting to see how the viewers are perceiving people playing it and so on. Dimitri's definitely the crowd favorite right now, but barely.
Well, Meter is another guy that's just tailor-made for this type of paintball. This is another phenom that came out of Texas. And what, again, from a story perspective, the fact that Mark Johnson was one of the guys. So Meter had come up really good at a young age, but Meter, he's strong-willed. He's got a very sharp mind. And so he's one of those guys that has gotten a rap as like kind of hard to coach because he's an intelligent dude and he got good at paintball really fast. So, when you're that type of talent, he went from camp to camp to camp to camp. I mean, he went to the East Coast at one time. He was playing at the Carolinas. Then he was brought back to Texas, and he kind of has bounced around. He's played for a bunch of different teams, played for Infamous, played for Ironman, now, but he really did help San Antonio X Factor in a very pivotal role, kind of as that 2, sometimes off the bench, sometimes starting, but always getting his reps in and always producing. And Meter was so crisp last year during the series title that San Antonio X Factor won. So going into this, I thought he possibly could win the whole thing. And then when I was watching him go down early against Mark, and Mark was getting his head talking shit, but then Meter kind of came back. He did come back. I was like, okay, Meter's looking good. Then he goes, now he's got to play Jesse though, and again, Jesse, talk about tailor-made for this type of format, fast, aggressive, real good on the scramble, and the come from behind victory that Clint had against, or that Jesse had against Clint. So that's going to be a fun one to watch as well, too. That one will be out the 17th. But I could see totally how people think that maybe this is Meter's tournament. But and of course, like I said, you got to give the nod to Matt as the Golden Barrel Award winner and the best player from AC Dallas as the overall favorite once Archie, who is one of those guys that I really wish we got to see in this, because I think that his skills and experience are tailor-made for this type of paintball. So, hopefully we'll be able to get to see him in there in the future. But regardless, but this is what's fascinating. This is what sports is, man. You got to be able to sit around, drink some beers with your buddies, or sit around a water cooler at work and be able to have conversations about who can or couldn't possibly take this victory here. And there needs to be some depth of story. So that's why I'm excited about, seeing these guys all shuffled up and letting everybody watch for episode 2, not episode 2, but, tournament number 2, event number 2. And then but that's essentially the same dudes are going to be playing. We'll have more time as things progress to break down that event. We could talk about that a little bit if you want, but I definitely want to talk about the third tournament, because the roster has been announced for that. We've been talking a little bit about that already. With some of the guys we've had on the show as the names have come out. One of the names I do want to mention, I got to give a shout out to my boy Harrison Frye. Harrison hit me up before, and I hit you up and then hit Paulie up. I'm like, hey, do we need a guy still? Because, we didn't know if Archie was going to be able to come. And anyway, so Harrison, who, is always Johnny on the spot, getting to anywhere he needs to get to be a part of any possible. That's why the guy, he puts in as many miles as almost anybody, other than maybe Tim Montresor and Ryan Greenspan and maybe a couple of Marcelo Margot. But he puts in tons of miles, plays in all over the world. He plays down in South America, plays in Asia. He's been everywhere. Anyway, congratulations. He just got engaged. But he was just super stoked. He wanted to get in, man. He was like, I will fly down there tomorrow. What do I got to do? Hold on, I got to talk to my girlfriend, but I'll get her down there too. We'll both come. And I was like, hey, let me hit a Paulie. He's like, we're covered. We got somebody. I was like, but we're going to get some of the infamous guys in the next one. So sure enough, Harrison's going to be in this next one. So I'm excited to see Harrison play this one. Fred Berkeley. I'm just going to name off these names, and then we can talk about it. But Harrison Frye, Fred Berkeley, Justin Rabikoff, Nick Slowiak, Cody Minkowski, TJ Danner, Chad Boucher, and Ronnie Dizon. That's a badass lineup for a one-on-one tournament. And there are the matchups. Okay, so this is what I was wondering.
So there's a little bit of a clarification. Those names that you've announced are the players who have confirmed that they want to take part in the Ultimate Shootout within the next 2 or 3 tournaments.
But not going to.
So we don't want to give
it. Good to clarify.
Right. So here are the matchups.
Okay.
Again, Greg Pauly is the mastermind. behind the matchmaking. And, obviously tons of thought went into who's going to play who in respect to play style, entertainment, longevity. And again, every tournament we are running 2 full sets. So that, yes, exactly. And whoever wins the tournament gets pulled out and they reshuffle and they play a second tournament with a sub that comes in. So why we're jumping from tournament 1 to tournament 3 is because in the middle, tournament 2, whoever wins tournament 1 is being pulled out, and ice from AC Diesel is being put in, reshuffle it, run it again, and then this is the tournament that's going to happen in July.
Yes.
And I couldn't be more stoked about this. This is actually the first tournament that we are truly going to have competitors from out of state, and we get some big names outside of Texas, which is going to be great to see. Some good rivalries. I mean, I personally I know and I've been around Nick Slowiak and Chad when they're around each other, and they jar all the time. They're always giving each other shit, and you couldn't pick 2 funnier dudes to mic up and play a one-on-one tournament. So I'm stoked about that.
Yeah, I'm just writing these down real quick because this is I've seen this, but I intentionally no, I know, but I want to have it for my records, but I always keep voluminous notes as I was showing people. But my wife calls them my tweaker notes, but I've just had enough technology go down over the years that I like to have everything in front of me in paper, just in case all of a sudden things start starting to break, and the only thing that works is the cameras, and we can still do a show. That's just been my reality in the past. Anyway, but so let's talk about these matchups. All right, so we got Nick Slowiak taking on Chad Boucher. Now, this is fascinating because, Nick just came off a win, and Chad Boucher and Nick have a long history of paintball together. They were together on Shock back in the day. They helped start Houston Heat. They are close friends. They play different positions. Chad Boucher is a first attacker. He's a wild man, runs up the center, kind of plays like a Alex Rodriguez style of paintball, likes to bully people in the center. And in the past couple of years, I really feel like Chad has definitely gotten better, and he's gotten some spins, and he's done well for Houston Heat. He's also a crazy shit talker and loves to just get mouthy as all hell and get super chippy. So that's super fun. And then Nick, Nick will match you. If you want to get lippy, Nick will match you, but that's not, he's a nice guy. That's not his natural inclination, is to try to get in and poke your wound. But he will match you for it. So I'm kind of expecting with their history and the fact that these are 2 conflicting styles, and styles do make fights. So, sometimes when you have 2 dudes that are heavy punchers just going blow for blow, playing rock'em sock'em robots, that can be fun to watch. But this is a little bit different. But Nick also, I don't think people understand how Nick does have a natural inclination for aggression. I thought we've seen that in the way he closes out points in the teams that he's played for. And just coming off that win now a while ago, but still the last big professional paintball tournament that was played, the Los Angeles Ironman. Yeah. And that was a big testament to Nick Slowiak's ability to play this game at its highest of levels. And I just think that any critic that ever said, hey, Nick's overhyped, or I don't know why we talk about Nick Slowiak so much. I mean, just go back and watch the tape when Nick basically playing almost every single point and being a huge contributor for the victory of the Los Angeles Ironman.
I don't know. You can't. Who says that Nick is overhyped? I'd punch that man. What are you talking about? Nick is overhyped. That man is
I'm just
beast.
Saying. He definitely is.
Look, I don't know if you've looked at Nick when he was in his 20s, like early 20s, when he's got some videos that I've seen when early Aftershock
Nick
days.
Since he was a teenager.
So you know this. Nick Jacob Strong, Nick Slowiak is super duper aggressive. Yeah, sorry, that's a great comment from Jacob.
That's our director, by the way.
Yes.
That's our director.
Yeah, he's the guy that pushes the buttons. So Nick Slowiak to me now is your 3 bowling ball, right? So Nick Slowiak sits in the back, quarterback, throw the bowling ball when you need to throw the bowling ball. Chad is throw the bowling ball first. So I think that combination where it's just going to be like Ryan Hall, BJ collision in the middle constantly. I don't think these guys will play back. I think they're ready and they're hungry, and they will love. They don't hate each other, but they'll love to hate each other. Does that make sense? They're not the type of people who
they are very good frenemies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think
It's just a fun. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought. But I got something for you.
No, that's my ending statement. I think that is a quarter. All these quarterfinals are sick, but there's also another comment that I want to make about this quarterfinal match about Nick Slowiak. If he wins his match, which no offense, Chad, I kind of hope Nick wins, and I hope Cody wins his other match just below it, because what people might not know is Cody Mikowski is Nick Slowiak's brother-in-law. Nick Slowiak's sister is married to Cody, so that would be a good little, like, again, like, you know, they don't hate each other, but they'd love to hate each other kind of situation.
Yeah. Well, we had Cody on the show last week, and I asked him, like, who do you want? Who would you want to call out? And Nick had called in. So Nick had called in to Chad Boucher's show not too long ago. And anyway, so I just loved it. And Nick may be watching right now, dude. Shout out to Nick. I'm surprised he hasn't texted me yet. But he was like, should I call in right now? Should I call in again? I'm like, I don't know. He's your brother-in-law. Do you want to call in? I texted him back real quick. And then he's like, no, I don't want to steal Cody's thunder. It's his show. Let's let him tell his story. But I do like the fact that this is the way that the matchmaker, Greg Pauly, has set things up. I love that Nick is playing Chad from a story perspective, from a style perspective. It's really fascinating because, you know, if I'm Nick, if I was coaching Nick in this matchup, in this fight, I would say, man, I don't know. Do you engage or do you try to ride that kill streak? Because Chad is probably going to engage. Now, if you were coaching Chad, now would you say then, hey, let's show everyone your gunfighting ability? Because if you could roll up into a one-on-one situation and beat Nick Slowiak by gunfighting your way to a kill streak, and then a couple buzzer hits there and there, here and there, so you can show off your aggression, which is the style of play he typically has. That would be a really big statement for Chad Boucher. But for Nick, if Nick could come out and also do that same sort of thing, maybe hit a couple buzzers, be a little aggressive, take the initiative away from Chad. I don't know how each one of them is going to kind of feel this one out here. You know, I don't really know. It could go either way. Again, if I was coaching them, if they call me up and ask me, which we may have these conversations leading up to this event, I don't really know exactly what to tell them.
So roll the thought back real quick. The way people have won so far in the 3 and 4 matches that have been shown, nobody has won Ultimate Shootout based on just sitting in the back and shooting. No one. There hasn't been a single winner that somebody sits in the back and shoots as of today. Everybody has had to hit a buzzer at one point or another, and of the 3 matches played, 2 of them hit the bonus buzzer twice. So you're talking about, of the 20 points they received, around 6 to 10 of those points were buzzer points. And of all the winners so far, they have all hit a kill streak at one point or another. So it's an interesting stat to look at, right? Like, you have to be good behind the gun, but that's not good enough. You also have to be good at moving and being able to attack those buzzers. But that's just with that dynamic, it's interesting.
That's just what we've seen so far. I'm assuming that because we didn't think that there was going to be somebody hitting all 3 buzzers. Again, this wasn't just me saying this. I was, pondering it out loud while we were having conversations with people, and some guys were like, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. And sure enough, it happened not right away, but it did happen. And so, it's one of those situations where it's like, yes.
Didn't you sign an NDA?
Yeah. I'm just saying, I didn't say who it was. I'm just saying that it does happen. You got to tune in to find out, bro. I'm trying to throw candy. I'm trying to throw bits of candy out, bro. I'm trying to throw bits of candy. Omid. No, that's not how it works. I'm trying to excite some demand here, bro. Anyway, no, so that does happen. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's just interesting. Again, tactically, who knows, man? If Nick could come out and potentially out gunfight Chad Boucher into that victory, and if he did, no one would necessarily be surprised because that's his bread and butter. But people would be stoked if Chad could do that to Nick. But if Nick could throw in some aggression, and I do love the fact that Cody is on the same side of the bracket as Nick, because man, he could be fighting his brother-in-law. But Fred Berkeley is the best player on the Outlaws, other than their snake player.
Can't sleep on Fred.
Fred Berkeley's. We've been calling him Mr. Consistent for a long time. Now, Dave Haber is nasty. I'd love to see Dave Haber in the Ultimate Shootout. Dave, if you're listening, or Jeremy, we got to get Dave Haber in one of these things. Hopefully he's still on your team because you need him. But Fred Berkeley is nasty, dude, and he's been nasty for a long time. He also has the deepest, most baritone voice in all of paintball, so I can't wait to listen to his interviews with Lauren, because every time we get on there, Lauren's like,
have
hey, what's
TJ
up, Lauren
Danner
Kelly?
and Fred Berkeley together.
Yeah, I'm here with Fred Berkeley, and Fred Berkeley's like, yeah, hey, what's up, Lauren? Yeah, so I was in the center there, and it's just like the deepest, most baritone voice you can get. Fred's great though, man. He's a great dude, hell of a player. I think he matches up perfectly with Cody though. They play the same position for Infamous, for Cody, and for the Outlaws for Fred. So essentially cut out of the same cloth, from the Midwest. It's going to be an interesting battle for those. But, Fred could very well win that one. And I think Fred Berkeley is another guy that, look, dude, the Outlaws have been underperforming for a long time. So if you're talking about somebody who's underrated and undervalued as a paintball player, as a professional as a whole, I think, well, here we go. Here it is. I was waiting for it. Nick Slowiak, huh?
Are you live on the air?
We are live on the air. What do you got for me? We're talking about you right now.
I don't know, man. I was at the warehouse. I just got in. I saw I had like 3 different tags on Facebook. And I clicked the link, and it took me to you and Sina. So I'm in it to win it, okay? I'm training. I'm going to fly up to Indianapolis. I'm going to take Chad Boucher out to lunch, serve him up a Big Mac with a side of fries, maybe some chicken McNuggets. I don't know.
All right, so
I haven't eaten McDonald's in years.
We're talking. Sina, can you? Hopefully you can hear Nick. Sina, can you hear Nick?
I can. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Nick, you and Chad matched up here, which is fascinating. Then you're on the same side of the bracket as your brother-in-law Cody, which
funny how that works out. Who's in charge of that? I want to know.
Greg Pauly. It's Greg Pauly. We already had this discussion. You know who's in charge of it. It's Greg Pauly. If you need to talk to somebody about it, that is your man. Why? First of all, I don't understand why you should be happy about this, my friend. If you can knock out, first of all, let me paint this picture here for you, Nick. I just close your eyes and just imagine this future. Okay?
I want to knock out the biggest threats. Chad Boucher is not a threat.
Oh, damn, son! Daggers are thrown.
He's my best friend, but he's not a threat.
Okay.
Quote that.
If I'm looking at Cody Mikowski, he's a threat. I'd rank him top 5 one-on-one players in the league. Like, dude kills it.
Yes.
Cole Roberts, the dude's been around for a while. Does he still have it? We'll find out. That's talking some shade. Harrison Frye, no words. Danner, as long as he's healthy, if he's not cheating, so we need the refs to be on the top of their game. Could be an issue. But I
want to paint you a picture real quick though, Nick. Okay, just close your eyes. I just want to paint you a picture. You're matched up with Chad Boucher. You beat him at his own game. You were a little aggressive. You master some gunfights. You move on. You take on your brother-in-law, Cody Mikowski, who you just said is a top 5 one-on-one player in professional paintball. He ends up taking down Fred Berkeley. So now you're matched up with your brother-in-law. You beat him down. You take that victory. You head into the finals. Okay. Now at Christmas, Thanksgiving, when you're with your beautiful family and with all the kids rolling around, and you just get to look over and give them that silent nod, knowing that you got the better of them in front of everybody. And then you match up against Colt Roberts. I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe it's Colt, the salty vet, one of the best players, not just to come out of the great state of Texas, but just ever, your former teammate. And then you match up with him in the finals. You end up taking the victory, and you're the champion, the Ultimate Shootout champion for episode number 3. What do you think?
Dude, that's a Picasso right there, man. That's Jackson Pollock. I'm hanging that shit on my wall. Like, what do you mean? What do I think? Like, dude, I think that's amazing. Thank you for doing that.
I'm just saying, in some alternative universe, that's the way it goes down. We have no idea, though, and I just I'm excited for it.
The Ironman to win Vegas, but shit.
But you did.
It happened. Yeah, I'm stoked. I got tagged in a bunch of stuff. Shout out to those people that tagged me. I figured, you know what? I didn't call in when Cody was live. I'm calling in when Sina's live because I miss that guy. And I'm proud of all the stuff that he's been doing.
Hey, I can't wait to see you, Nick. I miss you. Shout out to the little new baby. And I can't wait to see your matchup against Chad. So
yeah, and thank you for taking my call when you could have just ignored me.
I could have, but I'm not going to ignore you. All right, hello everybody. Take care.
All right, see you, buddy.
Peace. So all right, let's talk. So there it is.
TJ Harrison.
Yeah, let's talk TJ and Harrison because again, this is 2 D-side players. Styles make fights. They have very similar styles. I think that Harrison is more aggressive. TJ a little bit more cerebral, but Harrison is a very intelligent dude as well too. But this is a matchup against an emerging star with Harrison Frye that's really been stepping up past couple years. He made the big move over to Infamous. Came up with Thunder though, but he's a New York guy. Lives in upstate New York. And then TJ Danner, who's been sidelined for a while with the knee injury. He definitely helped me do some commentating. He did some coaching at the first one. But, this is a tough one to call, man. I don't know. I got to ponder it real quick. Sina, what are your thoughts on this one?
Hold on. I can't keep it straight. Yeah.
What do you got?
Can I call in? Can I call in right now and talk shit?
Sure. Tell him to call me. Yes, you can. Call my phone and we'll put you on.
All right. I'm telling him to call you. But until he calls, TJ Danner, Harrison Frye.
Yes.
I'm from Texas. TJ Danner's my boy. I think.
Yeah, but you're an intel.
Nick brings up.
Hold on. Pause.
Nick,
Pause. Here we go.
Oh, Jesus.
Hold on. Yeah.
Mr. Marshall!
What do you got for me? What do you got for me, baby? What's up? How you living?
You tell me what that little dude said right now. What did he say?
You didn't hear what Nick said about you?
No, I need to hear it. I got a rebuttal.
Oh, bro, it is not good, dude. He basically said you're trash, you're rubbish, you're no longer friends. He's gonna stomp you into the ground. He's gonna basically salt the earth with your weak blood, and that your lineage will be extinguished from paintball for all of time.
He's got diarrhea at the mouth. His shit don't stop running. I'm bringing the fucking hammer.
Hold on, that's not actually what he said. He said he loves you. You're really good friends, but he did say that even though you're best friends, he is gonna demolish you, move on, and then probably play his brother-in-law. That's what he said.
It's gonna be me versus Fred Berkeley. I'm calling it now. You get your fucking calendars ready.
Oh.
It's going down.
I need to get Fred. I'm going to get Fred on the show. We're going to get Fred Berkeley on the show. I've been wanting to get Fred on for a while. But okay, so it's going to be you versus Fred Berkeley. All right, so just give me. How's this going to break down? So it's you versus Nick. Just paint me a picture. Paint me a picture right now. You versus Nick in the ultimate shootout for number 3.
And I don't think people understand. Cody Mikowski is a great one-on-one player, but Fred Berkeley plays a lot of one-on-ones in tournaments. That kid's ready. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. And who are the other matchups?
TJ Danner versus Harrison Frye.
Woo, that's going to be a good one, but I believe in that TJ Danner magic.
Okay.
He's a smart player.
And then Colt Roberts and Sina, what's this dude's name?
There you go.
His name is Jeremy Zimmerman, and he's
Zimmerman. No, I know. I know. You're the Texan. I was just setting you up to bring you into the show. Yeah. So Jeremy Zimmerman, Colt Roberts, and Jeremy Zimmerman. That's that. Then there's some bad blood there, but yes. So Jeremy Zimmerman, Colt Roberts.
Wait,
yeah.
Colt Roberts and the Zimmerman kid have bad blood?
Apparently, I don't know. This is just what I heard through the grapevine around the campfire.
I don't know that
maybe it's not true. I don't know. I don't know.
You better. He's writing checks. He's not willing to cash these days. Let's go, baby.
All right. So out of TJ Danner, Harrison Frye, Colt Roberts, Zimmerman, you're on the opposite side of the bracket from those guys. So you're saying you're going to emerge and you're going to be in the finals. Who is going to be beating you in the finals?
Colt Roberts.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, that from that side of the bracket, based on their record in the past, you got to give Colt's the favorite for sure. In fact, you might even say Colt's the favorite at the event because of how well he's done over the years. All right. Well, I love you. I appreciate you calling me up. You might want to hit up Nick because he didn't necessarily. I was just kidding. He did terrible things to say about you, so you guys might want to have some words. All right. See you next weekend. Oh man. All right. So let's talk about the Colt Roberts, Jeremy Zimmerman matchup, because this is like Mark Baginski. If you're a paintball fan, you might not have seen a lot of Zimmerman, so as the Texan, break it down for me.
Jeremy Zimmerman is a true blood Texan veteran paintball player. Jeremy goes back to the Bad Kitty days, which are they were like the Iron Men that didn't happen. Remember Iron Kid stories? They should have been pro, but they didn't. It's that guy, right? We all have that guy at every local paintball field. He should have been pro 20 years ago. Yep. And Jeremy Zimmerman is a phenom, but he has been sitting he played pro for a while. He played pro for the AC when they first started pro. Then he went to Diesel. Then he stopped playing, came back, played some divisionals. He's been playing semi-pro with the AC program now for a couple of years. But Jeremy Zimmerman is an anchor on that team. I mean, to shoot Jeremy Zimmerman off the field, good luck. One, you got to shoot him 3 times because that's the strategy he comes from.
Captain
and
Quick
2,
Hands.
I'm telling you, he has taught many of the Texas paintballers everything they know. And Jeremy is also the nastiest snap in the game. That's actually a great match. Colt Roberts or Archie has lost a one-on-one tournament to Jeremy Zimmerman. That's a fact.
I can't wait. This is one of the reasons I love this, is that you do not know, and this is why I'm interested to see, and this would probably be a good time to talk about some information about, okay, so right now we're talking about tip of the spear here, the upper echelon, the Everest of paintball, best players in the world. Now we will be taking the Ultimate Shootout to the East Coast. We'll be bringing it here to California as well too. Right now we're doing it in Texas because we're still living the damn pandemic world. This is what it is. This is where this next event's going to go down. But you have a chance to get in there and maybe potentially win yourself a spot to be into one of these tournaments. But, having these under-recognized guys, these guys that a lot of people don't necessarily know if they've been just watching the webcast, because look, and this is why I feel passionately about our job. This is why I'm stoked to have a guy like you, to have Darren, Art, all these creative guys that we worked with, Pat Sporer, Rob Astamendi, all these talents over the years that have given their efforts and their time to telling paintball stories, is because it does allow other people in the world to live vicariously through those stories and to have some hope that maybe they'll get recognized one day. And so the fact that we have this outlet now, that we can get these people in here and that they can become more paintball famous than they may deserve to be, depending on how good their game is, but you earn it. You got to get through your opponent and earn it the best way possible. And so I just, the fact that having a Texas legend like Jeremy Zimmerman come in to play a Texas legend that everybody knows, of course, is Colt Roberts, because he's one of the best players in the world. If he can take down Colt, that's just another feather in his Texas legend cap. And the fact that Colt is going to show up to play him, I got to tip my hat to guys like that. It was like when, any of these guys that have a name show up to play in these tournaments, that's impressive to me, because you're putting your reputation on the line, and that's noble. And I have to give credit and respect to that, because that is a difficult thing to do. It's easy to just say, I don't really want to do this for X, Y, and Z, but the ability, your willingness to be in the fight, dude, hats off to all the guys that are participating in all of these. So I can't wait to see what happens. But tell me a little bit more about what's going on with the under 19s, the female division, amateur divisions, and how that, where can people get more info? How's that breaking down? How's that all going down?
Here's the coolest thing about Ultimate Shootout is you could play it. We're working with fields to find a way to get these kits out to fields as quickly as possible. But in Texas, we're doing a regional event. You can fly in, drive in, whatever you want to play it. Registration is open. There are a couple divisions that are sold out, so you might want to check, which is honestly a godsend. I don't know how we pulled that off, but people are interested in playing it. There's going to be cash prizes. It's run by the same people who have been running tournaments for decades, so I promise you it'll be run well. The USXBL people, Greg Pauly and his team, they're all very well done, very professional. Go to the ultimateshootout.com and go to the events and click on the regional event. It's happening July 11th, I believe. The day before that is a pro event. The day after is a regional event. You can play it in the Ultimate Shootout in multiple divisions. You can play in the Masters division, which is 40 and up, I believe. There's a women's division that I think has 1 or 2 slots left. There was that almost nearly sold out almost instantly, which was awesome to see. We were concerned, right? Like, how do we involve females in this? Like, we want it to be something that anyone can play. Let's create their own division for them. And then obviously the under 19 division has gotten quite a bit of traction. And then the amateur division, which is basically anyone who hasn't played semi-pro. So semi-pro and pro are locked into the Ultimate Shootout show, and everybody else has their own divisions to play. The coolest thing about this is, and we don't have the perfect formula for this yet, but this is the goal. If you win an Ultimate Shootout and you put on a good enough show and you have, the personality and the play, that make you viable for the actual show, the Ultimate Shootout show on Gosports, you're on the show. Like, go out there, stunt, and you could be the next name on the Ultimate Shootout, which is like, look, that's the beaten path in front of us, in front of most reality shows and most sports reality shows, right? And it applies very well in here. It's a really cool concept that we can apply here, that if you think you're the greatest one-on-one paintball player, come prove it. Come show us. Come show the pros that you're capable of doing these things. Registration's open. Shout out to Gel and the team behind Ultimate Shootout for setting this up so quickly. Jersey sales. We're going to have jersey sales. We have the exclusive pants. There's tons of apparel stuff coming out. Register to be a member of the league. And I mean, it's as simple as that. Show up, kick some ass.
Yeah, again, it's cool, man. The chance that you could go out there and win one of them, and then maybe you get to roll up and play one of these pros, and who knows what could happen. You know, it's like, if you think you got it, show up and prove it, and you have the opportunity to do it. Yeah. So I'm pretty stoked on that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what names are going to come out of that from all shapes and sizes and all ages. I think it's going to be really cool. Yeah, so yeah, I'm stoked on everything, man. I'm really excited about how this is all turning out. Anything else you want to talk about before we sign off? Anything else? I think we got everything right.
Just really quickly, tomorrow is the show for Nathan and Matt, as you see at the bottom of your screen. Tomorrow, 7 Central, Gosports.com. The pre-show will be on all social media networks: Twitch, Gosports, YouTube, Instagram, I think. If you want to watch the pre-show, which is usually like matches, the behind-the-scenes stuff, which we call the loadouts. And you can watch all those stuff for free on our social networks. And then the show itself is going to air at 7 o'clock on Gosports. And we're trying different days. We're trying different formats, different times to see, you know, what's going to be the best for outreach. And this week's show is going to be on Thursday. And then next week, June, I want to say 17th. I can't remember. Next Wednesday.
17th. That's what we're doing the first. 17th. Yeah.
Yeah. The next the next match is a semifinals match between Meter and Jesse, teammates. Semifinals, whoever wins that goes to the finals. It's a really good match. That's going to be next Wednesday. We don't know a time yet, but I'll release that on Instagram soon. So again, tomorrow, big show, Nathan versus Matt. It's the longest. I'll tell you this: it's the longest Ultimate Shootout match for this tournament. It's a nail biter. It's really good. It's a fantastic match. If you don't know Nathan, solid gun. He's like your typical 2/3, but it's played as a 1. Very, docile individual, but he can talk some shit. And then everybody knows Fuzzy, Golden Barrel winner, absolute phenom of a gun battle. He's the most dominant, if not the most dominant gun battler there is in the NXL. And it's a good matchup. Very good matchup.
Can't wait, dude. It was awesome to see, and very much looking forward to, to see how it all goes down and to get to the next one. I really want to see how, like, the tournament, because we know what happens in this one, but I really want to see what's going to happen in this episode number 3. So, yeah. All right, man. Sina, thank you so much for sitting in with me. I really appreciate it. Keep up all the hard and the good work that you are doing out there.
Thank you,
fires lit. Everyone out there, keep staying safe as we punch our way through this COVID madness and all the craziness that's going on. Definitely shout out to everybody out there. Yeah, man, we definitely have some really cool stuff in the pipeline here coming up. Again, a more Ultimate Shootout. We will be in California for the Pro Tour as well, too, the 7-man. Then heading back down to Texas to do event number 3. It's going to be great. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we got Pat Kraft Jr. Pat Kraft Jr. will be sitting in with us here on Friday. We're going to hear his story from New York Extreme. Looking forward to talk to him, and also his tactics episode just dropped yesterday as well. So definitely check out that, breaking down their victory over the Russians. It was a pretty crazy, close game. Russians almost came from behind to take it after they put up a bunch of points. Pat Kraft played amazingly, and so did New York Extreme. But anyway, definitely check that one out. Again, thank you guys so much. This is Gosports Live. I'll see you guys on Friday.
Oh, and they run right into each other.
Welcome to Gosports Tactics. Happy to have Pat Kraft Jr. here from New York Extreme.
This is huge. For us, this is the best match I think my team has ever played.
This is the type of stuff,
Yep.
guys out there, if you're playing divisional paintball, you have to have things like this.
Oof, yeah, I love this moment right here. I just knew that if I got low enough, you'll see me bait the other way to make him think I'm going that way, and then kind of get low and go the other way.
He doesn't even have time to switch hands. He has to just do it one-handed.
For me, I know if you talk smack to me, it wakes me up.